been hearing this is the second year that there has been such a march. But Grainne, tell us more about the need, first of all, for a group like Women of Mann.
I think it's important to have a group so that you don't feel alone, really. If you've got, if you're feeling these things, then it's really amazing to have a tribe of people that share your values. So really what it is, it's in part a celebratory group about how far we've come, but it also a platform to highlight how far we may still need to go. And it's I can't emphasize enough that it's kind of grassroots collective, because what that means to people individually is so personal and differs from person to person. So it's important to not sort of us airing our opinions. We're just one opinion amongst many.
Before we come on to more about what you just said there, you talk about finding your tribe. Jade, I really want you to tell a story about how the group came together, because you were sort of the genesis of this, weren't you?
I don't know if I'd use the word genesis of it, but yeah, I started a Facebook page for it, and was kind of loosely involved with another woman to begin with, who then she moved away, so there wasn't really the connection there. So I decided I wanted to put on the Women's March last year, but knew I couldn't do it solo, so put a call out on Facebook, and set a date to meet in the C terminal for anyone that was interested, and went and sat in the C terminal and waited tensely for anyone else to arrive, and thought I was just going to end up being solo. And then the other women started coming, and I met Grainne and Ali and Laura and some of the other organisers, and my auntie Joanne turned up, who is incredible, so that was brilliant. And yeah, it all just sort of came together, and sort of looking at them, and everyone was looking at each other, eyeballing to see, like, are they the people that I'm here to see? Are you the guys? And it was just finding new people, really, and we all clicked instantly and just got on with it, didn't we? And brought last year's march together in the space of 2 weeks. So when women work together, incredible things can happen.
And it's interesting, Grainne, what you were saying about the fact that it is a celebration of how far we've come, but also an acknowledgement of how far we still have to go. And I wonder where you think we still have to go. What do we still need to achieve?
Well, we're not there yet. We're always a work in progress, and that sort of means different things to different people. But I mean, for me, it's a more of a societal thing of working on building mutual respect between boys and girls from a very young age, and this kind of thing where it's about the equality and equal opportunities for jobs and confidence levels in boys and girls from a young age, and not sort of boxing them in kind of damaging ways, just sort of opening up that conversation there.
I wonder if it's fair to say, Jade, that the idea of women getting together in a group like this, the idea of, I suppose, of feminism as a movement, is viewed sometimes pretty critically and harshly by people. There is a certain image that women in groups like this have.
Yes, definitely. It's polarising for sure. But I think the people that tend to be scared of a feminist group are the people who've spent their whole lives in a group of men and had that perspective the whole time. And actually, we're not asking to take over men's place in the world, or to remove men from the world, or to stop men from having opinions. We just want to have a fair crack at it as well, which hasn't been afforded to us previously in history. So
it's interesting, we were talking about this before we came on air with Miles and Pippa as well, and I was saying I still have questions about it, because I think clearly there's an awful lot that has needed to change, and as you said, Grainne, we've come quite far to this point, especially with all the various movements that have taken hold over the past sort of 18 months or so, and it's highlighted some really awful things that have needed to be dealt with, and they have been dealt with. But I do sometimes worry about maybe how far it's going with regards to sort of being negative about men. And I know there's a post on the Facebook about the new Gillette advert, which is very interesting, that they've sort of turned the advert around to trying to, from instead of the best a man can get, the best a man can be. And it's images of sort of guys stopping other guys from potentially behaving in what we now see as being wrong ways. But is there a chance that we're maybe alienating men in some way, maybe making them feel like they don't perhaps know how to be men anymore? And even just that sort of notion of toxic masculinity, is that in its own way quite a bad thing to be using the word toxic next to the word masculine? Are there some things that we need to be a bit more aware of here?
I think if you go and sort of zone in on the phraseology there of saying toxic masculinity, that to flip it, all of the words that have previously been associated with womanhood and being feminine, or even down to women who don't necessarily identify that way with it, like butch, and I know all that's being reclaimed as well, so I don't want to sort of put anyone out by using it, but I think it's just acknowledging that behaviours in either gender can be really, really negative and impact on your fellow humans in a really bad way. And rather than, I'd phrase it, kind of sticking with it, if you're offended by toxic masculinity, you're probably exhibiting some of those behaviours. And if it's something you want to have a conversation about, then get in touch with us and we can talk through it and how, what it means for people going forward, I guess.
We are now very much in the post hashtag Me Too movement. I wonder how you feel as a group, how beneficial that movement has been.
Oh, yeah, hugely beneficial. There are conversations that are being had now that previously weren't being had. It's coming to the fore in the media in a huge way, and in celebrity culture. They're the ones really driving it, and it's what's important is just to have conversations about these things. It's not about preaching who's right and wrong. It's about having conversations about basic human respect for each other and talking about that kind of thing.
So with that in mind, then, we are looking ahead to the march this Sunday. Jade, what's happening?
Pretty much a similar format to last year. We'll have some more details about exact places, because we've had a conversation with Department of Infrastructure this morning because of the parking on the prom, and we don't want anyone to get run over, injured or otherwise put out. So it will still be happening on the promenade, on the walkway. We're just looking at where we can sort of revisit how to start and where to finish. Although I say that, we're probably going to finish at the War Memorial. So it's just the starting point, but just stay on Facebook and Instagram for updates of where to go on Sunday.
However, our speaker event is confirmed. It's going to be at St Matthew's Church Hall, 2 till 4 o'clock. We've got a brilliant lineup of speakers so far confirmed. We've got Jane Poole Wilson, MLC, Dr. Alex Allenson, we've got Hafiza Husen, we've got Carol Glover. They're all confirmed so far, and we've got a couple of others in there that we and it'll be just a really great afternoon of inspiring talks. It's going to be emphasis is on the hope and the positivity on that day, rather than it's very much an inspiring time.
And, to hear you, Jade, talk about the fact that you have to have these meetings like Department of Infrastructure about parking and things, that must be so rewarding to think that this is only the second year you've done this, and from one person sitting in the C-terminal waiting for a group of people to turn up, to know that it's that popular that you have to consider the logistics like that. That must feel amazing.
It is really amazing. And I think sort of tying back into what Beth was saying just before, about, people that maybe don't know how to be in the world in the era of Me Too. I think the fact that there are so many people that feel that there is a need to get involved with these things should highlight to the people who are against it why it's necessary, and it is just super positive. It's not about bringing anyone down. So Yeah, it's great.
Also interesting the fact that today it's just announced that the sort of the legislation for modernisation of abortion law has been confirmed, and when last year you had people sort of petitioning and campaigning there at the march. But also let's just talk about who the Women's March is for, because it's not just for women, is it?
No, absolutely not.
In the same way that feminism isn't just for women, it is just a societal phenomenon that is beneficial to everyone, really. Yeah, so we absolutely welcome anyone to come along. Don't feel that you are being excluded. You are welcome here.
It is interesting though. I mean, I did talk about the image perhaps that groups like this have, and Tony's texted to say, forgive me, but this is female radicalism. What would you say to that?
Come and have a brew with us.
Yeah.
Let's be really radical and meet face to face and have a chat about it and see what you think is the problem, and I'll see if I can convince you otherwise, because all right, Tony.